All right, so I have two questions for question of the day. First question is, what is your favorite moment of the regular season? And then the second question is, what is your favorite professional moment? What is your favorite moment in school? Or what is your favorite personal moment that you felt like really developed you or impacted you? With the regular season being done and over with, it's time for the play-in. And so what we're going to do today is just like preview the play-in games and see what are the matchups, what are the key matchups, what are the key X factors, what are the keys for success for both of the teams. So I'm going to go through both of the play-in games and then from east to west. So starting with the east, we have the 7th seed 76ers versus the Magic. And this matchup is very finely poised. I think both of these teams are coming into this game with two different mindsets. I think the Magic, first of all, after losing to the Celtics, I think are coming in with so much unnecessary noise. This is a must-win game for them. I think they have no choice but to win the game. This team needs to show that they have that tenacity, that they have that energy. But the Magic are not a very talented team. I know Paolo's he's been an all-star before. I know Franz is seen as a good player. But in terms of pure talent across the board, they're not a talented team. What they really thrive in is their effort. The ability for Anthony Black, for Tristan Da Silva, Desmond Bain, all of these guys, the gap between them and other good teams is so far. But what really bridges that gap for them is their effort. And when they don't have effort, when Jamal Mosley is constantly saying, "This team, we didn't want the game. We didn't want it hard enough to win the game." That says a lot. And on the Sixers side, I think for them, the keys for success is basically how much Tyrese Maxey can carry them. I think in a one game elimination matchup, I would take Tyrese Maxey over. You can take Tyrese Maxey over anyone. He's already averaging 28 points per game. He can shoot with the best of them. He can get to the rim with the best of them. He's definitely going to be on an All NBA team. So Tyrese Maxey, the question for this team will be how well the others can contribute with Joel Embiid being out. How well can Paul George, who's been on a tear since coming back from that suspension, how well can he perform? How well can he get into his spots? How efficient can he be? Kelly Oubre, can he be a menace on defense? Can he disrupt Paulo Franz? Andre Drummond is going to be, as I said, he's also been a brilliant rebounding force for this team. I think he's going to be incredible in just generating those second chance opportunities, those extra possessions for this team. I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup so much between him and just like Wendell Carter, because I think they both have a very similar style in terms of what they want to do in terms of the hustle at the center position. The 76ers have, which is an advantage for them, is their wings. They have a bunch of wings who all play very similar roles in terms of just being 3-and-D defenders. Dominic Ball is probably going to start. Justin Edwards can come in. Who else do they have? Trenton Watford is still there, who can defend at a high level, who can rebound at a good level. And then if they're making shots, I think this team is going to do well because they can match the Magic's physicality. All right, next, the Magic versus nope, the Hornets versus the Heat. I think these are two teams in very different places, and I think the contrast in where they are is very interesting to me. I think this is a Hornets team that's coming into this with a youthful buzz about them. um, this is a team which is young, which is I would say I'll call it the people's champ, which is like the people's champ. They're coming to this with like everyone's just excited to see the Magic, the Hornets in the play in. If they win, if they lose, I think they just go with so much information in terms of like they've gotten that experience, they've gotten that taste of winning. Hopefully, what this experience does, and Coach Charles Lee spoke about this, was that it helps them just see how to handle those type of high pressure situations. For someone like LaMelo, when teams are keyed in on his weaknesses, how is he going to respond to that? Teams like Khan, he's going to get more information about how teams guard him, how teams put maybe a different type different defensive coverages on him. I think this is actually an interesting game because it's just a fun matchup for different reasons for both teams. You have the Heat, who I think one of the biggest quotes that came out of the year was that Bam was like, "Man, I'm tired of being on the play." This is a team which it feels like is stuck in NBA play-in purgatory. They they have a good team. Bam, Tyler Hero, Norman Powell. Who else is there? Andrew Wiggins, Triple J, Hami Hackers. These are all good players. These are all good players. But the fact that they always stuck, the fact that they always start the season really well, but then always fail to at the end. I'm sure it's becoming a drain on not only Bam but also the team's morale. This is a team which is coming into this, and I'm sure they don't want to be here. They don't want to be in the play-in. And so them and the fact that they have to win two more games, it just says so much about where this team is at and what they might be experiencing. In terms of just what the Heat can do in the game, I think obviously guarding the 3-point line is going to be vital for this team. Getting Khan and LaMelo, who broke history as well in becoming the first two players to shoot more than 270 made threes since Clay and Steph and Clay. That is like really, so it just shows you the amount of shooting efficiency that they have from the three. And also Brendan Miller as well shot more than 200 threes as well. So this is a team which thrives at the 3-point line. Coach Charles Lee has emphasized that 3-point volume is something that he really keys in on. So I'm very fascinated to see how the Heat handle that, and can they do anything to disrupt that? Because I think one of the interesting things as well is like um the the Heat. I think yeah, they are one of the worst teams for opponents' 3-point shooting. Teams shoot 35% against them. And so if teams are already shooting 35%, imagine what the Hornets can do if they get hot. So guarding the 3-point line is going to be vital for this team. And rebounding. Musa Diabate has been one of the best rebounders in the league. He's averaging 8.4 rebounds a game. So um this is a team which thrives on rebounding and getting out of transition. So how the Heat's transition defense is going to be? Can they match? They can match that pace, but can they match the volume of threes? You're going to be looking at Hero and Norman Powell to kind of like shoulder that burden. So there's so much that is in this game that you're going to be looking at to kind of like help you to improve. So yeah, man, there's a lot of questions on these two teams and the differences in how they are feeling. I think that's something which I'm really interested in. I think I think the Heat, I think the Hornets are going to win. I think that they are going to shoot the Heat out of the park, and I think they just have a bit more of an edge in terms of like rebounding. Yeah. Then now heading to the West. It is West, whichever way it is. In the West, we have the 7-8 matchup, Phoenix Suns and the Blazers. Phoenix Suns have home court advantage in this matchup. This is a very finely poised matchup. These teams are both even in a lot of metrics, and the interesting thing about both these teams is that their identity is very similar in terms of just what they want to do. They want to play hard, they want to play physical, they want to shoot a lot of threes, or try to at least, in the Blazers case. In the Blazers case, Danny Avdija is averaging what, like 24 points or 25 points, and he gets at least what I think it's a close to 8 free throws a game. And to have that in the playoffs, in the postseason rather, when the physicality is heightened, when teams are letting the players play more physical, where they aren't going to be a lot of calls. I think for me, the question I have is how effective can he be if he doesn't get the similar calls? If he is going to the rim and he's getting bumped and he's getting bruised, can he still maintain that same level of production without those free throws, without relying on that free throws, which is a big part of their scoring and points? And obviously on the other side as well, with Devin Booker being a mid-range shooter primarily, how well can he be effective when there's a lot of rangy bodies? I'm looking at someone like Tumani Kamara who's going to be next to him. Drew Holiday is going to be around him. Like with all of these different types of pure weight defenders that he's going to be going against, how well can he still be effective as well when the defense is a bit more sticky? And so this team, they're very finely poised in terms of just their matchups, and how one small thing, one small imbalance, or whichever team takes those key metrics in terms of like even rebounding, free throw attempts, in the paint, I think you have a really good battle between Mark Williams and Donovan Clingan. And primarily, I think they're both incredible. I think Donovan Clingan is a better center, but Mark Williams has that athleticism around him where he can move around a bit better. He can maybe react quicker to getting the rebound and maybe just disrupt Donovan Clingan a bit. So they even in that, even though I think Donovan Clingan has the advantage, they still a lot for Mark Williams to maybe thrive and maybe do a bit better. Staying out of foul trouble is going to be the it's going to be key for both of these centers. The 3-point shooting as well is for me is always going to be the efficiency. It's always going to be the question for both of these teams. How well do they shoot from three? The Blazers, as I said, they are third in 3 points attempts and 28th in free in efficiency. So how well is Drew Holiday shooting? How well is Tumani Kamara shooting? How well is Danny Avdia shooting? So the question is always going to become to efficiency. And on this case, I feel like I trust Phoenix more because they have Jalen Green who can bring a certain level of just offensive punch that the Blazers don't have. They have Jordan Goodwin, Colin Gillespie, and Grayson Allen have been elite from the 3-point line, and they have the volume to match it up with. And then you have Royce O'Neal who can still come in and just be a good 3-and-D defender. The other thing that the Blazers have an advantage of as well is their size. The Blazers are primarily a 6'8" to 7-foot team, apart from Drew Holiday, who I think is like 6'5", and even he plays bigger than his actual size. So how well can the Blazers impose themselves on the Suns is going to be another question. If they can get to the rim at will, if they can disrupt maybe what's his name, Devin Booker's mid-range game, if they can disrupt Jalen Green from getting to the rim, or just just irritate them, if they can stifle the shooters or the spaces on the floor, can Donovan Clingan maybe keep Mark Williams at bay? Those questions about how they impose their will with their size is a big question that I think if they answer it well, the Blazers have a chance. You know, so yeah, this game is very evenly matched. I think it's another exciting matchup, and I'm very interested to see how they perform. I am going to go with who am I gonna go with? I have no idea. I'm gonna go with Blazers. I like the Blazers. I want to go with the Blazers. The Blazers are winning this. I'm just gonna say they get to rim a ton and they shoot enough threes to win the game, and they stop the what's his name, Devin Booker, and what's his name, Jalen Green enough with their pure weight defenders. So I'm going with Blazers. And for the 9-10 matchup in the West, the Clippers versus the Warriors. Two teams again coming into this with two very different trajectories. I think this is a Clippers team which is just happy to be here. I think from where they started to where they are now, honestly, it's like to start a season that badly and to finish in the play-in and the opportunity to hopefully even get into the playoffs is just incredible. I think the Clippers should be proud of themselves and the work that they've done. One thing I said in my notes is that even if they don't win this game, they've won in so many different areas that they don't even need to win this game. The ability to trade James Harden and Ivica Zubac and to get younger, to get some draft assets, bro, that is a brilliant feat in and of itself. To have Kawhi healthy for a long season and him to achieve career highs in points and to be effective and to have like MVP buzz at some points this season, that is a win in and of itself. Ty Lue, even if he wins or loss, brilliant season from him as a coach. The ability to, he's coming up this season now. They have young pieces who are intriguing. Jordan Miller, it is a bit older, but Jordan Miller, what's his name? Benedict Mathurin, Yannick Niedenhauser, Darius Garland. You have four young players who are interesting at the very least. This is a win in and of itself, regardless of if they win or lose this game. Brilliant season from them. What else? On the Warrior side, I think for them, I came the way that I'm looking at the Warriors now is that I have no expectations on them. I think that would be unfair for us to have any expectations of them at this point. If they win, cool. If Steph goes for 30, 40, cool. If they lose, cool as well. For me, that's how I'm just looking at this. I have no expectations of the Warriors because there's nothing, even if they win, unfortunately, there's nothing sustainable about what they're doing right now. They have no long-term prospects. And so I don't see the need to have any expectations of them. I think for them, it's just go out, roll the ball out, and see what happens. So I think for them, no expectations, just keep it going, just enjoy. I think that one thing that, yes, shout out to Kenny Beaton. enjoy basketball. Just enjoy whatever the Warriors give you. Watch, enjoy. If B Pots gives you 15 and 5, if Draymond gives you a good game, if KP gives you a solid what 10 double digit game, enjoy it. That's all that you can get from this. If Al Horford gives you a what is it, a vintage game, enjoy it. Enjoy it with no expectations. And I think if you do that, you'll be happy as a Warriors fan. I'm going with I think the Clippers are going to win though.